Hello everyone and welcome to Meloni's Matters TV and radio. I hope you guys are enjoying your day as we are. Today we have a great show planned for you guys. We have some guests who are going to talk about not just being in business but the struggles with being in business. For most entrepreneurs, you know, being in business can be quite a struggle. So with us we have Mr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., who is an entrepreneur, and the name of his business is called J&F Enterprises. And then we have Jackie Arthur and Lonnie Jordan, who are the owners of Lon Jack Exquisite Events. So today, again, our topic is to really deal with the issues of being in business and dealing with the struggles. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely, absolutely. So Leroy, tell us a little bit about your business and what you do.
Well, J&F Enterprises, which stands for Jesus Never Fails Enterprises, is a distribution, publishing, and business consulting firm that I started several years ago. We have Christian-based products that we offer: hats, T-shirts, mouse pads, license plate holders, those things. We offer publishing services as well. I've written several books myself, and then I publish other authors under J&F. And then I do business consulting for individuals that are looking to start a business or grow their business, and then I also work with churches on the business aspect of running the business side of the church.
Okay, I didn't know that he was going to bring that resume here. Okay, I didn't know it was going to be that extensive. So I have some questions for you specifically.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to move over to Jackie and Lonnie. Please tell everyone about what you do.
We are, well, I'm Jackie Arthur, Lonnie Jordan of Lon Jack Exquisite Events and Costume Karaoke. What we do, we actually got into it with the idea of just doing karaoke. It took on a head of its own. We ended up doing charitable fundraisers. We have a prom coming up. So we kind of have our hands in a little bit of everything.
Do you want to add to that one?
We do different kinds of events. We are doing weddings, we do seminars, we do baby showers, we do bar mitzvahs. So any type of event that you're looking to be catered, any type of event that you're looking to have it we can organize it for you.
Right.
We do, what else we do? We do,
like I said, I mentioned the prom. Right. We also work with the Pimlico Elementary School. We're getting ready to take karaoke there for the kids that have great attendance. So I'm so excited about that. And pretty much whatever someone has in mind, we can pretty much transform that idea into something spectacular.
Nice. Now they're being really modest, because one thing that I like about these two is that they always give back to the communities. I think just about every event that I have attended, it's always been community based, you know, in some way giving back. And we're going to talk about that a little later, because I find it very interesting, to say the least, that number one, they're a young business, but they always have that connection to the community, and I think it's phenomenal. So we're going to talk about that shortly. But before we talk about that, Leroy, just tell us, in your opinion, what are some of the struggles that people come up against when you're talking about business?
Well, I think one of the first things that I think new entrepreneurs or someone who's looking to start a business, a lot of times I think part of the struggle is name recognition. I think a lot of times when you're first starting out in any business, that is, people don't know who you are. People don't know who you are, they don't know what you do. So it becomes a thing about how to get your name out there. How can you brand yourself so that people know where you are and what you do, where you are, where they can find you. So that's part of that beginning struggle. I think another thing too is that I found that a lot of entrepreneurs talk about is capital. having money to be able to do the things that you really want to do when you're starting a business, or even being in business, is having that working capital that you can use to be able to have your business running as effectively as you want it. Those are just a couple of struggles that I know that entrepreneurs talk to me about, and that I've seen, especially when, if I'm doing workshops or just doing networking events. One of the things that we talk about constantly, consistently, is that name, that branding, that name recognition, and then also having capital.
Now, let's talk about that branding for a minute, because I know personally I have changed my brand, did this to it, did that to it, and until you kind of like get it right, And I think a lot of people go through that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just like constantly like, is this right? It don't feel right. It don't look right. And I'm constantly going through that. So I just want you, put a finger on, okay, this is my branding. What steps can you do to push it out there to the public side?
Well, I think there's a couple of different ways. Once you do find, and your branding is nothing more to me than finding your niche. What actually it is about your company that connects you with those individuals that are looking for that product or service that you provide, that they need. Because that's all business is providing a need or a service that somebody wants. And when you're able to connect with them with that with that branding, they say, wow, I need that. Because I remember one time I'm sitting watching a commercial, and it was I think it was a Crest toothpaste commercial. And it was nothing more than a young boy, young guy, maybe in his 20s or something like that or whatever, and this was several years ago, maybe in his 20s, brushes his teeth and everything like that, teeth nice and white, clean, and he's out, and he has this young lady approach him, and she's like, makes a comment about him having a very, pretty smile and everything like that, and I'm sitting there like, I think I need to go get that toothpaste right there. So those are the type of things that where people see, kind of come in contact with you in that branding, whether it's the marketing aspect of it, using social media, whether it's the different other kind of marketing tools that you use to get the word out about you, and people connecting what it is with what you do, especially with entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is saying, okay, the service that I'm providing, how can I get to those people who need what it is that I have to offer? Where the places that they are, and then how can I get what I have into their hands, or let them know where I am that they can get it into their hands.
Now, this is just my own personal thing, and you all can chime in. I think getting your name out there, getting the branding out there, I think that is difficult. I think it's difficult because it seems like everybody is an entrepreneur. Right. Everybody is doing what you're doing. And I just find it so extremely difficult. So for me, I'm always thinking, what can I do? This person is doing what I'm doing. What can I do that's maybe a step ahead? And it's hard.
It really is hard. I think that's our struggle as well. We're new. So if you approach someone and say, hey, I'm from Lawn Jack, they're like, Lawn Jack? I've never heard of it. So, and we're doing the media blast. I had magnets printed up to get our names out there. But it's really hard. It's like, how do you make that connection? I was excited about the show today because I did my homework. And I know she did. So I'm really interested in hearing what you have to say, because you have a great organization, and like I said, I did my research, so I came ready to hear what Mr. Bieler had to say today and how I can actually roll that into launching.
Right.
I know one of the things that has worked for me each year. What I try to do is I try to plan out what I want to do, especially from a marketing perspective. How can I effectively grow my brand? Last year for 2014, it was actually to be more involved in the social networking, and then also being at more networking events. Okay. And one of the ways, or a couple of ways that I did that was joining meetup.com. And it gives it where you can pick and choose the groups that you want to be a part of.
Okay.
There's so many groups that that you can that have meetings and that have that networking events, and then also going to those events, just kind of talking to those individuals that are there, and just kind of conversing. And what I found was, hey, when I went out to those events, I was able to talk to people even more, make them aware of who I was, what I did, and then it that grew from that. So joining meetupgroup.com, and then also with the social media thing was actually, honestly, I was already on Facebook. Only really used to. I use Facebook, LinkedIn, and I use Instagram. Now, if you would ask me, like, now maybe I have time to be doing this Instagram thing, taking pictures and all that, but what I found was it was a very effective tool to use, and it's nothing more than me, like, after we sit in here, I will take pictures. I will post it on Instagram, I will post it on Facebook, those places, just talking about the people that I'm involved with here. That not only gives me exposure, it gives them exposure. Lets people know where I am, because I've had, a Latina, I've had people tell me, wow, and they mentioned to me, wow, you're really busy, aren't you? Because of the things that I put out there, letting people know where I am, just kind of things that I do, that I'm involved with. And then also using it as if I have, like with my authors, they had, I have a couple authors that just came out with books, so it's a part of putting their book releases out there, letting people know that their books are out, and going to their events, making sure that they get the, the marketing that they need, those type of things. And then even for this year, one of my main goals is to do more workshops. So that's kind of my focus will be this year, and I've already partnered with another entrepreneur and author, and we're going to be doing 7 workshops, one each month from the month of February through August, September. And it's going to help authors that that either have a book or they somebody that has a book, but I'm just not sure what I need to do. How I can, how to go about that writing process and having them understand all of those things. So those are kind of the things that I do that have been able to help me to be able to grow just in these last couple of years and doing what I do. And I found it to be it's been very effective. And it's a constant thing now. It's just being able to let people know that you're out there, what it is that you do, and those I tell you, the networking events have really helped, because it's introduced me to a lot of other people. And I found people, well, you've written a book. Well, like you say, I did my homework for it. I need to talk to you. And it's been that type of thing that has helped me to grow Jane up and to kind of bring Jane up. So that when people think of my company, they think of 3 things. They think of being enlightened, being empowered, and being impacted. Those are 3 things. Those are the 3 core things that anybody who knows anything about Jane F, they know that any product, any service that they get are going to have those 3 elements.
Wow, I don't know about you guys, but just in that 5-minute stretch, I learned a lot. So that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Wow. You're watching Meloni's Matters TV and Radio. This show is sponsored by Lawn Jack Exquisite Events. Now, back to our show. Welcome back, everyone. We are having business conversation, what every business probably has gone through or will go through at one point or another. We're talking about the struggles in business, really getting businesses off the ground, getting your branding, your name, and etc. out there. So on break, we mentioned social media, and a little bit before break, we mentioned social media. For me personally, I'm on the fence about social media, and I think the reason why I'm on the fence is because a lot of people use social media to put their products and services out there. So literally, not only are we bombarded with big companies advertising, now it's us advertising to everybody else. And like I said, I think everybody's an entrepreneur. I really do. I don't even remember looking at my social page and seeing like a regular person saying, oh, I went to the hospital today because I hit my big toe, or oh, I had eggs and bacon for brother It's more than every time I look at my social media page, somebody is advertising. So I'm on the fence about advertising. So what do you guys say?
Well, I personally think that social media is a really good network to put yourself out there. I know for us, like we was talking earlier during the break, that lawn jack exquisite events, and the people will say, well, what in the world is a lawn jack and what do y'all do? So they kind of like get to see exactly both sides of what we do. They get to see the karaoke side, and then they get to see our what we do in the community. Our last function that we had a function was called the Soiree with Marilyn Mosby. She came and she spoke. We did a brunch, a gospel karaoke brunch. So you get to kind of like see exactly what it is that we do on both sides of the spectrum.
Okay. And I have to agree with Leroy as far as the pictures and Instagram, because when people take a look at, I come up with some wild costumes, Leroy, let me just so when people see that, they're like, oh, wait a minute, we're going to have to check this out.
Right.
You can dress like that. So yeah, but I do understand what you're saying, Melanie, as well, because everybody has a product. So I guess for me, it's like how to kind of effectively market on social media, you know. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And Mel, the difference is between, I guess, I think the advertisements that you see a lot of times with all of these products, and I think that those of us who are using social media for business purposes, there's a difference between a business and a hustle.
Very true.
You know, a lot of those things that we, that we may get to kind of sifting through that are hustles, as opposed to people who are trying to be, effective entrepreneurs. Use that marketing tool, because social media is a marketing tool. It's a free marketing tool.
Exactly.
Is what I tell you. It is a free marketing tool. You don't have to pay anything to be able to, do what you do on Facebook, to be able to, get friends, and to be able to have the things that you get on there, and even with the Instagram, and LinkedIn. And that's why I said those three. Okay. Because those three, LinkedIn are really, they really do. They, that's on their business side of those. They don't take a lot. You can't put really offensive stuff and everything on. Their privacy. The privacy, you can control a lot of the privacy stuff that you have on those. So those were the three that I was like, yeah, I think I can use these three the most effectively, as opposed to some of the other ones that are out there that people just want to just be on, like the Twitter. I can't. I'm like, I was telling my sister earlier today. I was like, because she was asking me about, do I use Twitter or something? I was like, no. I was like, I don't have that kind of time. I mean, on Twitter. I'm like, the Facebook and the Instagram things, because I can do those kind of right where I am.
Okay.
And be done with the Twitter. You can do the same thing, but I don't have time to be doing all, the Twitter, the Instagram, and then the Facebook. I was like, because my Instagram, the pictures I put on Instagram, I can put on the Facebook.
Yeah,
so it works in conjunction with it. So I like those three, as opposed to I'm running a business as opposed to a hustle for somebody.
Right.
So and you have a lot of other entrepreneurs who want who do use it effectively, because like she was saying, when you see certain things on Facebook or Instagram, you're like, oh, I gotta check that out. I gotta see what that's about. See what they doing. Because they doing something where it'll attract some people's attention and give people's attention. So.
Okay, well, I guess I gotta step up my game a little bit because Leroy said I'm gonna have to do a little bit more. Put myself out there on social media. So let's talk about money for a minute. I think as a business owner, especially starting out, money, of course, is always an issue. So Leroy, can you give us your perspective on maybe the steps that a starting out business should go through before they decide to put their business out?
I think one of the first things is you want to do is you want to do your research, do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. Do your homework. And when I say do your homework, I mean as far as the industry that you're going into. understand what where the industry was, know the history of the industry, know where it is kind of currently, and then see where they're projecting it to be a couple years from now. Because I remember when I was in college, my major was hotel restaurant management, and this was back in the late 80s into the early 90s. I graduated in 92. So the hospitality industry itself was very hot right then. It was, you had hotels that were being built everywhere at that time, so it was a very hot industry. So when I chosen to go into hotel restaurant management, I didn't know it was going to be as fluent as it was going to be. I knew that people had talked about it being a growing industry, but didn't have the idea that it was going to be all through those 90s where you had this just boom of hotels, you know, and the industry just, they needed managers, they needed GMs and everywhere and everything. So you have to understand where, you know, the current trends, kind of where things are going, because if you aren't aware of what's going on, yeah, you could be in something right now that's doing very well, but you know, 5, 10 years, 15 years down the road, you'd be like, industry would be like, you know, I mean, you'll be like, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even just look at the retail in perspective of videos. You had Arrows, which came kind of initially. Now people look at it, she's like, Arrows. Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. Those, but now those companies are gone. Why? Because you have Redbox. Who'd have thought? Going to McDonald's,
and
going to Walmart, all I gotta do is grab a movie right there. I can grab it while I'm right there. You know, now I don't know too much about the the red boxes, but you know, but having the availability of the movies, you know, in those particular boxes, you might have to go around or something like that. But that became something that put those particular companies out of business. On demand, cable with on demand. You know, I can buy it now. I can buy it right on my TV as opposed to having to take the family, get together, which I did like about. I thought it was a great thing. It was a family thing. Let's go to the video store. You know, you pick a movie, and then we could, you know, we run for 1 day or 7 days or whatever. You know, and you had that. So the dynamics of industries can change.
And I think with the more technology that we get involved with, it's going to be every day. It's a change. It's literally every day. It's going to be, you know, some negative change. So you got to stay ahead.
You definitely have to do your research and understand your industry and know what, you know, kind of what's going on. And then once you've started, once you've done your research, then understanding the product, your product and your service, and saying, okay, is this something that that is viable? Is it something that I can that I'm bringing to the table? Because like you said, there's so many people doing the same thing. But how do I do it in a way that's different from everybody else? How do I add my little niche, my little touch to it?
And I agree with him, because when I love karaoke, can't sing, you know, worth a lick, but I love it nonetheless. And for me, and my partner always laughs at me, for me, when I get up there, and I've done my research on the karaoke, it's a big industry right now. I mean, they have competitions, you know, around the country.
Oh, wow.
So, but for me personally, I like the idea of dressing up. Now, the costumes might be outlandish sometimes, but when you come to our karaoke night, you're going to get a show. Now, my partner might not be feeling it, you know. But when we get up there, my goal is always to show people a good time, people that are not comfortable. Like Mr. Leroy is going to come to perform at karaoke, but but my goal is when you leave, you're leaving feeling good, because I don't know what kind of day that person has had, and when they leave, I want them to be uplifted. I want them to think about us and say, I want to go back because I left there feeling good. That's always my goal when people come to something that we're having, is to give them the best of us so that they want to come back and they leave feeling good.
I leaked and really did. I really did.
And what that'll translate into is people actually really just talking about it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, you know, let's say you have 100 people that come to an event or 200, and then those 100, 200 say that very thing that Melanie just said. Man, I went to this karaoke last night. Let me tell you, we had such fun. Oh, really? Well, when's the next one? Or, you know, they're really, and it's a way to be able to, you know, just kind of, that word of mouth is strong.
Yes. Now, Leroy, let me ask you this. Some people told me to make sure I ask this question, so I am. What do you think about a business plan?
Absolutely. You better have one. If you don't have a business plan, if you fail to have a business plan, then you plan to fail. And a business plan is nothing more than a roadmap for you to be able to just structure yourself. And a business plan is always ongoing too.
Yeah.
You should always, at least once a year, you should do an assessment. Usually you want to do it maybe like towards the end of the year. Just do an assessment of your business. You got to see those things that worked, things that didn't work, things that, yeah, okay, we did that. We did well in this particular quarter. Let's say we did well in the second quarter, but we kind of fell off in the third quarter. Why was that? What was happening during that particular time that caused us to, you know, to be able to do well or to not do so well? Or, you know, did our marketing, you know, kind of hit the target that we wanted to be able to hit? Or do we need to do more in the marketing of, you know, to this particular, you know, target, to this particular area, so that we can get the, you know, the proper exposure that we need? So yeah, you definitely gotta have a business. I can't tell you how many new entrepreneurs start off and don't have a business plan. You know, or they just try to wing it.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it does not work. Yes, you need to sit down and put that business plan together to be able to understand what your business is.
Yeah.
You know, and what you do, how you do it, and you know, and where you do it.
And I think it's important to point out too that I think when people think of a business plan, they really think of something that's really formal. It does not have to be formal. To me, it has to be a vision of where you're starting, where you're trying to get to, and your end result. To me, it's just as simple as that. It doesn't have to be this elaborate 20-page, you know, business deal. It doesn't have to be that, but you do have to, you know, kind of monitor where you're going, so you'll know exactly what direction you're heading in.
Here's the thing that I thought of, that I think about when it comes to that. You asked that question about a business plan. Who gets in their car and doesn't know where they're going?
That's right. Right. That's right. That's right.
If you get in your car, you have a direction or a place that's your destination that you're going to, right?
Well, if you're like me, I might have the destination, but I'm gonna go around it 50 times before I get there. But you're absolutely right.
And that's true. And even in this day of technology and everything like that, because a lot of cars have a GPS system.
Right.
A lot of cars, or even your phone, which is so funny, because I just started using my GPS on my phone. I had it in my car, but I was like. And there were certain places that I had to go, and of course I'm not familiar with a whole lot of places. Right. So all I do is plug it into my GPS, the address, put the address of where I'm going, because the GPS already knows where I am.
Right.
So it gives me the directions to how to get to where I'm going. And even if I get off track, what does it do? It routes to exactly where you're trying to go to. Same thing with a business plan. It's nothing more than that.
That's right.
It's giving you that GPS to where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
So can your business plan change? So just say,
oh, absolutely. It's going to change. It's going to change.
So is it like it's like a goal?
Right. Yeah. Right. It's an ongoing document that you use to just kind of give you structure.
Gotcha.
And the different aspects of your business plan are going to always need to be tweaked. Like we just talked about the marketing. You're going to find certain things like Mel talked about with things that work or don't work.
Right.
You know, you're going to find that those things, that just didn't work. No, that wasn't a good idea.
Right.
That just wasn't right. But sometimes you hear things, man, that worked really well. So hey, we need to do that. We need to make sure that we keep on doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. See, so I asked a question for those of you who wanted to know, you know, do you have or do you need a business plan? And like Leroy definitely said, you need to know where you're going. So get a business plan. I don't care. Let me tell you what my business plan is. You guys are gonna laugh, but I don't care. I have on my wall at home. It's a pad. It's a big. It's like an office pad. I don't know what you call it, but everything that I need to do is like outlined. And I look at it periodically and I say, oh, I forgot to do that, and I need to do that, and I need to probably reprioritize that. But that's my vision, and I kind of like draw everything out. And for me, that works for me, so I can know what I need to do, know what the next step is. And even though I get off track quite often, because that's just, you know, how business is, I can look at that and say, well, I need to go back, you know. And for me, that works for me. That's my visual business plan. So with that being said, we'll be right back after these messages. You're watching Meloni's Matters TV and Radio. This show is sponsored by JNF Enterprises, bringing visions to reality, building the 21st century company. Now, back to our show. Welcome back, everyone. We are still talking business, talking about some of the struggles, talking about some of the things that we definitely need to make sure that we are doing when we're trying to put a business together. And step number one is, guess what? A business plan. Know where you're going, know which direction you're going in, you know, so you can have a successful business. So Mr. Leroy McKenzie, he's going to give us some information of some of the things that we definitely have to do. So, Mr. Leroy, you can take it over.
Well, just 3 points before we transition. In any business, whether you're a small business that you're growing, or whether you're mid-sized or even a large business, I think there are 3 things, and especially if you're going through and you're struggling, those things, 3 major things I think that you can do to be able to help yourself to be able to get through those struggling times. The first thing is preparation, which is having yourself, preparing yourself for the different things that you're going to go through as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. They're going to be peaks, they're going to be valleys, but in those valleys, what you're going to depend on are those fundamental things that you do and that you do well. And that's where your preparation comes in, because being prepared for those moments that come, and they're going to come. It doesn't matter. They're going to come, and it's just a matter of being able to kind of push through. I don't know anybody, whether it's a business owner or anybody that's gone through life, that you don't have struggles and get through. So preparation is a vital part to it. Organization is the next thing. So preparation, organization, being organized. Kind of, you know, you ever notice that there's some people that they're kind of doing this, doing that, doing here, doing that. They're kind of all over the place when it comes to certain things. But the more organized you are, and the more set that you are, the more stable you kind of bring yourself to be going through those struggles. And then the third thing is elevation. Because when you're prepared, you're organized, you get yourself to be able to go to that next level and be able to move from this to this and from this to this. And it's about growth. Growth is nothing more than movement from one place to the next. It doesn't have to be huge. And at times you don't want it to be huge, because you can't handle a big growth at one time, because you'll wind up not being successful that way as well. So just being prepared for that elevation that you go, and that moderate growth, and being able to move yourself from this level to the next level, and then from the next level to the next level. So that's what I would say for those that are in those peaks or in those valleys, trying to get through those struggling times.
Yeah, and very good points, very good points. And I think that, you know, as business owners, we get so frustrated because we don't immediately see the outcome that we want. We don't immediately see. I can attest to that. I'm telling you, I can attest to that. You know, but one thing that I had to learn was to be patient. You know, not just with myself, but with the people who I'm trying to attract. You know, and the more that you put yourself out there, the more that you do your homework, the more that you study your craft, it will happen. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. And I think you guys hit it on the head when you said, well, Leroy said, you got to get out there. You got to get out there, and that's just for anybody, trying to promote whatever you do. You have to put yourself out there. So what that means is probably coming outside of your comfort zone and going to meet people. I'm a stickler for saying social media is okay, but you have to put a face. People want to see your face. You have to go out and meet people, So this was very good information. Very good information. With that said, as I said, we have Lonnie and Jackie here, and these people. They have a young business. You've been in business for what? About
Since July.
Since July. So relatively young, but the concept that they have to me is great. It really is great because every time I leave their event, I am happy. Probably because I have a blue special. But what I enjoy the most is, I'm just being truthful, what I enjoy the most is just seeing people laugh. Just seeing people get up there on a mic and they're a little saucy and they just don't care, and it's fun. But what I love about Jackie and Lonnie is that they always give back. They always give back, and I think it's just so important. So can you guys talk about first being a young business and then your perspective on giving back to the community?
Well, by us being a young business, right now we're just laying the foundation. In any structure, you have to have a firm and a strong foundation. So, like Meloni was saying, getting us out there, getting our face out there, getting our brand out there, getting them to know who Lonnie and Jackie, Long Jack Exquisite Events, who we actually are and what we do. We give to the community. Like Meloni said, we are a really brand new company. We haven't made any money, but we always try to give back to the community. Just so that we just don't forget where we came from. So that when we get to where we're going and we get there and we get settled, we can always turn back and look back on those who we helped in the past. What you think, Jen?
For me, giving back is important, but what I do, I love it, and I want people to see that when they come to an event that we're having. I want them to see, like, wow, they are really into this, because I'm drawing you in so that you can, have a good time as well.
Yeah.
One of the other things, and I always say this to my partner, sometimes you can't live in the box. You have to step outside that box, and you stated this too. You have to step out of that comfort zone. Sometimes he may not always agree with some of the ideas that I may come up with, but then when he see the end result, it's like, oh yeah, my partner, you had it. That was a pretty good thing. You just have to put yourself out there. You can't be afraid because this is yours. You'll go on somebody else's job and work 9 to 5 and bust your behind. But you won't do that for your own. And so I'm really passionate about that. And I think if you're going into business with someone, you really have to, we are, to me, the perfect team. Because we work so well with one another and we just push each other all the time to the point where we probably get on each other's nerves. But it works for us. He brings something different to the table. And his expertise, I know that I could not do some of the things that he does. And for me, I'm more hands-on. I like to go out there and talk to other business owners because that helps us in the long run. So I'm telling you, I was so excited about this show today because of Mr. Leroy. And then Meloni, you've been like a driving force with us as well. So we definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we are, we're going to get to the bottom of this struggling in business. So we're going to take a very, very short break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Jackie and Lonnie about some of the things that they may struggle with their business. So stay tuned. You're watching Meloni's Matters TV and Radio. This show is sponsored by Atypical Journey, now available on Amazon.com. Now, back to our show. We are back. Thanks for hanging out with us. So before we took a break, we were talking with Jackie and Lonnie. So they're going to share with us about some of the struggles that they have being a young business. So, guys.
I think the biggest struggle is the chips, you know. For us, you know, we're always putting back into the company.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing right there. Sometimes I sit back at some of the events that we've done, and I said, where the heck did the money come from? You know, but it comes together. And you have to be really mindful of your finances. A couple of things we did in 2014, I said, look here, we're not doing it moving forward because it ends up putting us in a hole. And the one thing that I'm not going to do is take out a loan for my business. I have to put the money that I make back into it. When we have an event, we just roll it back over into the next one. But if you can, starting out, it probably would be great if you had probably a little nest egg, you know, but the reality of it is with us, it didn't happen like that, and we learned from some of the decisions we made last year, so.
To piggyback on what Jackie was just saying, I know for my personal experience, by us not taking out any loans and us doing it ourselves, we kind of like appreciate it more. You kind of understand what I'm saying? So like for instance, when we did the brunch, we went all out. We did that all out of our pockets. It was a good turnout, but it wasn't the greatest turnout that we was looking for. But at the end, we felt really good about what we put out.
Wow.
Yeah. I just think that as long as you feel good about what you're doing, and you enjoy it so much, and those who do support you, they will tell others, and then they will tell others, and then it'll basically grow. So I appreciate what Jackie and I have. You know, times are hard. We sit here and I scratch my back, and I'm like, damn, Jackie, what are we gonna do? Jackie, she'd be like, well, Lonnie, we ain't got no other choice but to do it. And I'm sitting here saying, well, Jackie, how are we gonna do it? And Jackie's saying, Lonnie, we're gonna just do it. And every event that we do, we just do it, and it gets done, and it's always been a good event.
He's the worry horse.
Yeah.
I tell him in a minute, I'm not going to entertain that. We're just going to move forward. I'm not going to be stressed out because I know, and I always know this, it's going to come together. Right. So when he's worried, I can't entertain that right now. You're not clouding up my head space.
She will hang up on me. And I will call her right back. Jackie, you hang up on me?
Yeah. But it always comes together, and that's the thing. Like I tell them all the time, I say, even if we fail at a couple of things, that's just failure leading up to success. So don't get up in your head about it like, oh, this didn't turn out. It doesn't matter. We're moving on to the next. So with that being said, we learned from our past failure, and now it's time to turn that around into a success.
Look out for us, 2015, we coming. Look out for us.
I know they are. I know that they are. So do you guys have any closing remarks about, you know, people who may be in business or wanting to start a business, some things to definitely do, some things definitely not to do?
For me personally, if you're starting a business, make sure that that business is something that you are passionate about. Because I believe that if you're not passionate about it, the chances are, I think your failure rate would be higher because you don't believe in what you're doing.
Good advice.
And that's, to me, the best advice that I can give. And don't give up. I mean, people will laugh. For us, I think people look at us and say, oh, they're just karaoke, they're no big deal, they're not, you know. But from July till now, when you see some of the things that we've done, we're not just karaoke, that's how we started. But I have a vision, and my thing is to move forward with that vision. I run ideas by him all the time, and we work well together. So it is important to know what it is you really want to do and be passionate about it, regardless of the naysayers. Know what you want and how you want to get it.
And you have to surround yourself with a lot of positive people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone's always going to have to say, someone's always going to have something negative to say, no matter how good you are at what you do, no matter how good at what you put out. Someone's always going to say something, well, now I don't think you should do that, because that ain't going to work, that ain't going to work. Always surround yourself with somebody who's going to support you, and then just brush off those negative things. You have two things. You have two voices. You have a negative voice and you have a positive voice. Always listen to that positive voice and just move forward and press forward. Don't let nobody knock you down. Don't let no one tell you anything different. There's something that you believe in. Go for it. Make it happen, because only you can make what you believe in happen.
Absolutely.
Your time is the most important asset that you have. Your time should get you somewhere, and it should get you something. Those two things out of your time. And when you take the time, no matter whether you're beginning or whether you're an entrepreneur who is working on starting their business, your vision, or whether you're somebody who's been in business for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, your time is the most important asset that you have. And you have to be able to use it wisely. You have to be able to understand that the time that you spend on your business, like you said, you have to love what you do. Those who are passionate about what they do, they don't mind putting the time in. They put that time in, and they make sure that they give everything what it is to their vision that they have, because your vision is just that, yours. And I've said the same thing that you just said. I refuse to be, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but one of the things I always said is, if I'm going to kill myself, then I'm going to kill myself for myself and not somebody else.
Exactly.
And that was one of the reasons that just catapulted me. I was doing in the hotel industry. We were just talking about me and he's one of my best friends now. We were doing 70 to 75 hours a week.
Wow.
And we were both managers at the same time. He was a GM, I was the assistant GM, doing 70 to 75 hours. And I was like, dude, I said, no. I'm like, I'm burnt out. I'm like, but I can be doing the same 70, 75 hours out. Because I'm up, and Mel, I know y'all know, you up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to finish something, did I do this? But it's yours.
It's yours. Exactly.
That's the difference, that it's yours.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, my goodness. Great advice. Business owners and people who are aspiring to be business owners, business is always a struggle. But you always have to reevaluate. Like everyone agrees up here, you have to love what you're doing, and you have to put in that work. You know, it's not going to come overnight, but I promise you, if you're passionate and you put in the work, it will definitely come. It will definitely come. Thank you guys so much for viewing and listening in by radio. Until the next time, you guys take care of yourselves, and talk to you later. Leroy Mackenzie Jr. wrote the following books: The Art of Leadership, The Customer is Not Always Right, and Young and Gifted, the New Generation of Entrepreneurship. His books are available on Amazon.com. Thanks for watching Meloni's Matters TV and Radio. Please subscribe.